The first scream came from gate C-17. The second came from the airport security checkpoint. By the time the third scream echoed through the terminal, every screen inside Atlanta International Airport flashed the same message. Missing child. The entire terminal froze. Passengers stopped walking. Flight attendants turned around. TSA officers rushed toward the gate area. And somewhere inside the chaos, 8-year-old Lily Harper had vanished. Nobody knew where she went. Nobody knew how. 1 second she had been standing beside her exhausted mother waiting for a delayed flight to Seattle. The next second she was gone. Within minutes, airport police sealed off parts of the terminal. Security cameras were reviewed. Announcements blasted through loudspeakers. The panic spread faster than the truth. Marcus Reed was loading luggage onto a baggage cart beneath Terminal C when his radio suddenly exploded with emergency traffic. All units be advised. Missing child. Female. 8 years old. Blonde hair. Pink backpack. Marcus immediately stopped working. A missing child inside an airport was every employee's nightmare. Thousands of people. Hundreds of exits. Endless hallways. If a child disappeared, finding them quickly became critical. Marcus grabbed his radio. Any last known location? The dispatcher answered. Near gate C-17. Marcus looked toward the terminal windows. Gate C-17 sat only a few hundred yards away. He immediately started moving. Not because it was his job, because he had children of his own. And every parent feared that phone call. By the time Marcus reached the terminal, the atmosphere felt electric. Fear lived in the air. Police officers moved quickly through crowds. Airport staff checked bathrooms and restaurants. Parents held children closer. Everyone watched. Everyone worried. Then Marcus saw the mother. She sat near gate C-17 crying uncontrollably while airport police asked questions. Marcus slowed down. The sight hit him hard. Real fear looked different. It stripped people down to something raw. The woman looked broken already. A female officer knelt beside her. When did you last see Lily? The mother wiped tears. We were sitting right there. She pointed toward a row of airport chairs. I fell asleep for a minute. Her voice cracked. When I woke up, she was gone. The officer nodded gently. We'll find her. Marcus wanted to believe that. But airports were enormous. The longer a child stayed missing, the harder things became. Then suddenly a man nearby spoke up. Wait. The officer turned. The man pointed toward Marcus. I saw him talking to the little girl. Everything stopped. The officer looked at Marcus. The mother looked at Marcus. Several passengers looked at Marcus. The familiar feeling settled into his chest immediately. Not surprise, recognition. He knew this feeling. The moment suspicion changed direction, the man stepped closer. The baggage worker. Marcus stared at him. What? The man nodded confidently. I saw you talking to her near the vending machines. Marcus remembered instantly. The little girl, pink backpack, curious smile. She asked where the giant airplane viewing window was. The conversation lasted maybe 20 seconds. Nothing more. But fear didn't care about details. Fear only needed a direction. The officer approached. Sir, can we speak with you? Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Not because he was afraid. Because a child was missing and valuable time was already being wasted. I gave her directions. The officer folded her arms. Directions to what? The observation deck. The mother looked confused. Lily likes airplanes. Marcus nodded. I figured, but nobody seemed interested in that part. The crowd around them had already started whispering. A missing child. A black airport worker. A conversation. For some people, that was enough. The officer gestured toward a nearby security office. Come with me. Marcus laughed quietly. Not happy laughter. Tired laughter. The kind that came from understanding exactly how these situations worked. Inside the security office, airport police asked the same questions repeatedly. What did she say? Where did she go? Did you touch her? Did you follow her? Marcus answered calmly. The truth never changed. She asked a question. He answered. She left. That was it. Meanwhile, the search continued. Airport security reviewed footage. Police checked terminals. Employees searched restaurants, shops, waiting areas, maintenance corridors. Nothing. Lily seemed to have vanished completely. An hour passed, then 2. The mother became more desperate. News crews arrived. Social media exploded. Photos of Lily spread across the internet. So did rumors. People wanted answers, and desperate people often accepted the wrong ones. Around midnight, airport investigators returned with updated security footage. Marcus watched from the security office. The footage showed Lily near the vending machines. It showed Marcus speaking with her. Then it showed something nobody expected. A man standing several yards behind them, watching. The room became silent. The investigator paused the video. Who's that? Nobody knew. The image was blurry. Baseball cap, gray jacket, tall. The man remained in the background while Lily walked away. Then the footage switched to another camera. The same man appeared again, still following. The atmosphere inside the room changed instantly. Because for the first time all night, investigators had something real. The officer leaned forward. Keep rolling. The footage continued. Lily moved toward the observation deck. The unknown man followed. Then both disappeared from camera range. Marcus immediately stood. Where does that hallway lead? The investigator pointed toward the airport map. Maintenance access corridors. Marcus's heart started racing. He knew those hallways. Most passengers didn't, but employees did. The investigator grabbed a radio. Search teams to Maintenance Corridor 6 immediately. Officers rushed out. Security teams mobilized. The search shifted direction. Finally, toward evidence instead of assumptions. Marcus looked toward the map again. Something bothered him. The observation deck hallway connected to older sections of the airport. Storage rooms, unused service tunnels, places passengers rarely entered. Then suddenly he remembered something. Construction. Several maintenance doors near Corridor 6 had been left open because of renovations. His stomach dropped. If Lily wandered through one of those access points, he grabbed his radio immediately. I know another way. The investigator looked up. What? Marcus pointed at the map. There's an old baggage route underneath that section. The officer frowned. You're sure? Marcus nodded. I use it every week. Without waiting, he started moving. The investigator followed. Minutes later, they entered a restricted service corridor beneath the terminal. The tunnel stretched endlessly beneath the airport. Concrete walls, dim lighting, the sound of distant aircraft above. The deeper they went, the more Marcus felt something was wrong. Then he heard it. A faint sound, almost impossible to notice. Crying. Everyone stopped. The crying came again. A child's voice. Marcus immediately ran toward it. The tunnel opened into a storage area filled with maintenance equipment. And there she was. Lily sat behind a stack of supply crates crying. Alive. Terrified, but alive. The officer rushed forward. Lily. The little girl looked up, then started crying harder. Marcus felt relief hit him like a wave. But then he noticed something else. A locked maintenance room nearby. The door had been forced shut from outside. The investigator's face darkened, because suddenly the situation looked very different. This wasn't a child simply wandering off. Someone had trapped her there. Airport police arrived seconds later. The investigation changed immediately. Lily was escorted safely back toward medical staff. The airport erupted with relief. The mother nearly collapsed when she saw her daughter. People cried. Employees cheered. News crews rushed to capture the reunion. But Marcus stood farther back, watching, thankful. Then Lily suddenly pointed toward him. That's him. The crowd became quiet. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. Not again, but this time her face lit up. He helped me. The mother looked confused. What? Lily pointed at Marcus. He told me where the airplane window was. Marcus smiled softly. The little girl continued. When I got scared down there, I remembered what he said. The mother frowned. What did he say? Lily looked at Marcus, then answered. He said airport workers are safe people to find if you're lost. Silence. The words landed heavily, because the same man people suspected, the same man questioned for hours, was the reason Lily knew who to trust. The mother started crying again. Only this time it wasn't fear. It was shame. She walked toward Marcus slowly, tears streaming down her face. I thought. Her voice broke. Marcus nodded. I know. The woman covered her mouth. I am so sorry. Marcus looked at Lily, then at the exhausted police officers, then toward the crowd. I know. And he meant it. Because he understood something many people didn't. Fear made people irrational, but fear also revealed things hidden beneath the surface. The mother wiped tears from her eyes. My daughter trusted you before I did. That sentence hung in the air. Painful, honest, true. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Because deep down, everyone understood. The little girl saw a helpful airport worker. Adults saw a suspect. The difference said everything. Hours later, as the airport slowly returned to normal, Marcus sat alone near the observation deck watching planes take off into the darkness. The crisis was over. Lily was safe. The real suspect had been identified through additional camera footage. The truth had finally won. But Marcus knew something the headlines would never mention. People would remember the rescue, the reunion, the arrest. Few would remember how quickly fear pointed at the wrong person. Then he heard footsteps. Lily, the little girl, sat beside him holding a stuffed airplane toy. For a moment neither spoke. Then she asked quietly, "Why were they looking at you like that?" Marcus stared out at the runway lights. Children asked questions adults avoided. Finally he smiled softly. "Sometimes grown-ups get scared." Lily frowned. "That's silly." Marcus laughed. A real laugh. "Sometimes it is." The little girl thought about that. Then she handed him the toy airplane. "You can keep it." Marcus smiled. "Why?" Lily shrugged. "Because heroes get souvenirs." Marcus looked at the tiny airplane in his hand, then at the child who saw things far more clearly than most adults. And for the first time that night, the weight inside his chest felt a little lighter. Because one little girl would always remember the truth. The man everyone feared was the same man who helped bring her home.